So guys, today we're going to be doing my Henry AR-7 survival rifle survival kit. Let's get started. Today we're going to be looking at my AR-7 that has been reconfigured to not only hold the AR-7 rifle, but also a few survival goodies and to help you better be prepared for a survival situation. So today we're going to be taking a look at all of the first thing you'll notice is the paracord, and I set this over everything in here, and that's because I noticed that there's actually, when you put this stock on this rifle, there's actually quite a bit of space still that you could use. So that's why I put this, and this was really the only place I could fit this 5 feet of paracord. So the next thing, and the most predominant thing, if you guys can hopefully see here, is the amount of 22 rounds I have in this setup. And that is something that I really wanted to stress, because while you can fit 3 mags, you can put one here and one here, and you can put one in the rifle that are all fully loaded, that gives you around 24 rounds of ammo. I found out that through a little bit of modification, I actually removed all the side venting. It looked like this up here, all the way across here, but I cut all of that out, and with using a Dremel, I cut all of that out and made a nice groove for a lot of ammo. So I'm going to quickly dump all this out and tell you guys how much ammo is actually here. Special modding, I was able to actually hold an additional 20 rounds here, so that isn't quite a complete magazine of stuff. It's around 2.5 magazines, maybe probably a little bit more than 2.5, but that combined with the total of 24 rounds via the 3 magazines that would already be in the rifle, that brings it up to 42 rounds of 22, which once again, you know, still isn't a gigantic amount, but for a survival rifle, that's actually pretty admirable. Now that's just what I did with my modifications. You guys can see with that now cleared out. You of course could put things like fishing hooks, ferro rods. You could do a lot of different things with that area. That's just simply what I did with it. Well, that was a secondary modification I had to do to the rifle. So stock, it does not come with that channel cut out. So now getting into other parts of this rifle. So I'm not sure how well you guys can see some of this stuff, but right next to the trigger guard, there's just a little bit of slack room. Hopefully you guys can kind of hear. And what I was able to do was take a little bit of a hacksaw blade, as you guys can see there, and I just slipped that right there. And the reason why I chose a hacksaw blade for this particular project was a few reasons. One, this is going to correlate or be the striker with the ferro rod that I'm about to show you guys. And secondly, the reason why I liked the hacksaw was because though it's not a lot, it is still a sharp edge, and it's something, as you guys can see, you know, it will cut stuff, because like I said, it still is a sharp hacksaw blade. Though it's a smaller hacksaw blade, it will still actually cut things. So I wanted to choose that over another striker of a ferro rod, because this one has a dual purpose in the fact that if you had to cut something, though it might be very minimal, you can use this, especially for notching a larger piece of wood, to then help break it in half. So that's kind of what my thoughts were behind the hacksaw blade and why I chose a hacksaw blade. So the next part is behind not this magazine, but behind this magazine right here. When I was looking at this stock, I actually found that there was a little bit of a notch, and I hope I can show it in the video better, but there's a little bit of a hole back in here. Maybe I can show it. Yeah, you guys can see this black part area right here. Sorry, it's not in focus, but you guys can see that black area back in there. It's a little bit hard to show on camera, but that was actually a little hole that was just out of the way, and the magazine completely passed without going into that hole. So what I did was I found that I could put a small little ferro rod just right back in that hole. And now I do want to note, if you do decide to do that little mod, do keep in mind that with this orange piece and that black little hole back in there, there's a slight hole on the side of it, right on this side of it. This is going to be really hard and really tricky to show, but on this side where my finger is, on this side here, there's a hole, and you'll know this when you get the stock. You'll be able to see this, and you just need to put some tape over that, because if not, your ferro rod can actually fall in and down further into the stock. You guys can hear, that's actually my first ferro rod. still rattling around in there because I made a mistake the first time around, and the first ferro rod actually got stuck deeper in the stock, so that sucks. But that is a mistake that I learned, so don't make that. But if you put a little bit of tape over that area, it works just fine. Those modifications, that's really all the modifications I made that I would recommend. I did also, if you guys notice, I drilled this area out and I put a few 22 rounds in there, but it was just too tight, and so now there's a 22 round stuck in there permanently, unfortunately. So I wouldn't recommend making that modification, but other than that, the rifle works completely, you know, as stock. And once again, I didn't really make any modifications to anything else with this rifle, so it's still, you know, same basic philosophy. There's the barrel, there's the action, there was the 2 magazines, and yes, just some basic modifications there. And as you guys can see, this is pretty much what it looks like. Now with that little channel that I made, I may revisit the survival kit and see if I want to add anything else.